When you wake up in the morning and feel that heaviness in your chest, that tiredness before the day even starts, I need you to understand something. You're not weak. You're not broken. You're not behind. You're overloaded. You've been carrying responsibilities, expectations, worries, deadlines, and pressure that you never gave yourself permission to set down. And when you carry enough weight for long enough without taking a breath, without recalibrating, without pausing to check in with yourself, even a champion starts to feel like they're slipping. But that feeling isn't failure, it's fatigue. You've been fighting battles nobody sees, showing up for people who don't even realize how much strength it took just to stand up that morning. You've been pushing, believing, grinding, surviving, and somewhere in the middle of all that, you forgot to breathe. You forgot that you're human, and when you forget that, you start mistaking exhaustion for weakness. But weakness and exhaustion are not the same thing. Weakness is giving up because it's hard. Exhaustion is what happens when someone strong has been strong for too long without rest. Some of you have been carrying your family on your back. Some of you have been fighting private wars no one asked about. Some of you have dreams so big they keep you up at night, and fears so heavy they hold you down during the day. And you think something is wrong with you because you're tired. No, something is right with you because you're tired. It means you've been trying. It means you've been committed. It means you've been giving your all even when nobody clapped for you. You're not weak. You're worn, and there's a difference. But here's the real truth. Your body, your mind, your spirit, they've all been whispering to you, slow down. Reset, realign, before you break, breathe, before you panic, pause, before you quit, calm your mind long enough to see what's actually happening. Because you cannot pour from a cup that's cracked. You can't ignite the world if you're running on fumes. You can't build your dream when your mind is cluttered and your energy is scattered. Listen, strength isn't about pushing non-stop. Strength is knowing when to stop pushing long enough to restore your power. Strength is giving yourself permission to rest so you can rise again. Strength is recognizing that if you don't take time to reset, everything you've been building will collapse under the weight of your own pressure. You've been moving like you're made of steel, but even steel needs maintenance. Even machines need downtime. Every high-performance engine needs tuning, adjusting, recalibrating. You think you're supposed to grind non-stop because you've convinced yourself that stopping is losing. But stopping isn't losing. Stopping with intention is strategy, and strategy will take you farther than speed ever could. You feel defeated because you're exhausted, and you're exhausted because you haven't paused long enough to process where you are, how far you've come, and what you actually need. Sometimes your body shuts down not because you're incapable, but because it's protecting you from running into a wall you refuse to acknowledge. Sometimes the "I can't do this anymore" moment isn't your breaking point, it's your turning point. The moment your mind demands that you slow down before you destroy the very thing you're trying to build. What you need right now isn't another level of hustle. What you need is clarity, rest, breath, balance. Because when you finally give yourself space to reset, you'll realize you're still strong enough. You'll feel your energy return, your focus sharpen, and your passion reignite. You'll remember why you started. You'll remember that you're capable. And that version of you, the one who is rested, centered, focused, will make decisions and take actions that the exhausted version of you could never take. You were never weak. You were carrying too much without pausing long enough to feel your own strength again. There's a moment in your life when you have to understand that stillness isn't weakness. Being calm doesn't mean you stopped caring. Slowing down doesn't mean you lost your fire. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is sit still long enough to hear your own thoughts again. We've been taught to believe that motion equals progress, that grinding non-stop means we're winning, that if we pause even for a second, The world will leave us behind. But the truth is, if you never slow down, you never see where you're actually going. You're just moving, not advancing. You're just busy, not becoming better. There are moments where life is loud, so loud that you can't even hear your own purpose anymore. Your mind gets crowded, your heart gets confused, you stop thinking and start reacting, and that's when mistakes happen. That's when pressure takes over. That's when you start drifting into places you never intended to be. But when you choose stillness, real, intentional stillness, you take your power back, you pause the noise, you clear the fog, you give yourself the space to see what's true, what's necessary, and what's just draining your spirit. Some of you haven't been still in years, always rushing, always chasing, always pushing because you believe momentum alone will save you. But momentum without direction is chaos. Motion without clarity is a trap. You can run fast and still be lost. You can be productive and still be empty. You can be successful and still be disconnected from your purpose. Stillness reconnects you. It realigns you with the mission buried beneath the stress. And don't get it twisted, stillness is not laziness. Being calm doesn't mean you're soft. Stepping back doesn't mean you're retreating. Stillness is strategy. Warriors don't swing their swords non-stop. They wait, they observe, they choose the moment that matters. Champions don't run full speed every second of the race. They control their pace, they guard their energy, they move with intention. Successful people don't fight every battle. They pick the ones that lead to victory. Being still lets you recharge the parts of you that the world has been draining. Your mind gets sharper. Your thoughts get cleaner. Your confidence grows roots again. Your vision stops shaking. You begin to see opportunities that exhaustion kept hidden from you. Some of you are one moment of stillness away from the break, through you've been chasing for years. One pause away from realizing you've been spending energy on things that don't even matter. One deep breath away from understanding that the answer you needed was always inside you. It was just buried under noise. When you allow stillness, you start moving with precision. You stop reacting emotionally and start responding intelligently. You stop fighting blindly and start directing your strength where it actually counts. You stop trying to control everything around you and begin controlling the one thing that matters most, yourself. That clarity is dangerous. That clarity is powerful. That clarity is the turning point that transforms scattered effort into focused impact. And the beautiful part is this: when you learn to be still, you stop fearing the storm. You stop panicking when things slow down. You stop assuming that silence means something is wrong. You start trusting the process. You start trusting your preparation. You start trusting yourself because now you understand that the calm before the break through isn't a warning. It's preparation. It's alignment. It's the universe clearing space for the next version of you. Some of you keep asking for strength, but strength doesn't always show up in noise. Sometimes it shows up in stillness. Sometimes strength is sitting with your thoughts instead of running from them. Sometimes strength is choosing peace over panic. Sometimes strength is slowing down so you can aim before you fire. You're not falling off. You're not losing your edge. You're creating the clarity that will guide you to your next level. When you master stillness, you don't just move, you move with purpose. You move with direction. You move with power. Stillness is not a pause. It's preparation for the moment everything changes. There comes a point in your journey where you have to realize that your real power never came from trying to do everything at once. Your strength has always been connected to your ability to focus, to lock in, to commit your energy to what actually moves your life forward. The problem is, somewhere along the way, life started pulling you in 100 directions. Every distraction started tugging at you. Every noise started demanding your attention. And without even noticing it, You went from being intentional to being scattered. You went from being driven to being drained, not because you lost your strength, but because your focus got divided. Let me tell you something. Unfocused energy is wasted energy. You could have the heart, the talent, the potential, but if your mind is all over the place, you will stay stuck in the same place. You cannot hit a target you're not aiming at. You can't build a future when your attention is split between 10 different versions of yourself. That's why refocusing is powerful. It filters out what doesn't belong so your strength can concentrate on what does. Some of you have been feeling frustrated, not because you're incapable, but because you've been pouring energy into places that don't feed your purpose. You've been giving time to people who don't match your direction. You've been fighting battles that don't deserve your effort. You've been carrying responsibilities that aren't even yours. And the whole time you're wondering why you feel stuck, why you feel drained, why success feels out of reach. It's because your energy has been leaking into places that don't grow you. But the moment you refocus, truly refocus, you become dangerous again. You become precise, you become intentional, you become aligned. You start separating what's urgent from what's important. You stop giving your strength to things that don't matter. You stop letting distractions drown out your vision. You stop letting noise dictate your direction. Refocusing is like wiping the fog off the mirror. You finally see the version of you that's been buried underneath the chaos. And when that clarity hits, everything changes. You begin to move differently. You start showing up with purpose. You start choosing discipline over impulses. You stop wasting days and start maximizing moments. You stop reacting to life and start directing it. That's when your true strength resurfaces, not the strength of trying to do it all, but the strength of doing what matters with all you've got. When you refocus, you stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start asking, "What's actually worth my effort?" You stop entertaining doubt because doubt has no place in a focused mind. You stop guessing yourself because clarity eliminates confusion. You stop carrying everything and you start carrying only what aligns with your future. Refocusing reminds you of your why. It brings you back to your roots, your purpose, your mission. It reignites the fire that life tried to dim. It reconnects you with the vision that once kept you up at night. And once that vision becomes clear again, you can't help but move with conviction. You can't help but walk with confidence. You can't help but step into your strength with a level of force that distractions can't shake. There's a version of you that emerges only when your mind is centered. A version of you that makes decisions without fear, takes action without hesitation, and protects their vision without apology. That version of you isn't weak, isn't lost, isn't overwhelmed. That version of you is unstoppable because that version of you is focused. You don't need more strength. You don't need more hours in the day. You don't need more motivation. What you need is to bring your mind back to the mission, clear the noise, cut the distractions, direct your energy with precision. Your real power returns the moment you refocus. You need to hear this. Life didn't defeat you. Nothing you've been through has the power to define you unless you let it. Every setback, every failure, every moment that made you feel like you weren't enough, it wasn't the end of your story. It was the universe pausing, asking you to regroup, asking you to prepare, asking you to take a breath and come back stronger. Your fight is not over. You've just been called to step back, to reset, to refocus, and to come back into the arena with control, clarity, and purpose. Too many people think that stepping back is giving up. They confuse withdrawal with weakness. But let me tell you something, true warriors don't run blind into every battle. They pick their fights. They choose when to engage. They step out not to quit, but to come back with a plan that ensures victory. And that's exactly what you're being asked to do. You've been pushing, grinding and giving everything. And now it's time to step back intentionally, to breathe, to gather your energy, and to enter the next stage stronger than ever. When you take this moment to reset, it doesn't make you less capable, it makes you unstoppable. It allows you to see the battlefield clearly. It allows you to understand which battles are worth fighting and which are distractions. It allows you to recognize that not every setback is a loss and not every delay is a defeat. Sometimes the very thing you think is holding you back is actually giving you the chance to come back smarter, sharper, and more focused than before. Think about the times in your life when you've been pushed to the edge. Think about the moments you thought you couldn't handle another step, another challenge, another failure. And yet, here you are. You're still standing. You're still breathing. You're still capable. That strength, the resilience you've carried quietly, the determination you've refused to show the world, that's the version of you that steps back into the fight and dominates. That's the version of you that understands control, strategy, and timing. Control is powerful. It's the difference between reacting and responding. It's the difference between chaos and order. When you take a moment to relax and refocus, you are reclaiming control over your mind, your body, and your actions. You are no longer letting circumstance dictate your energy. You are no longer letting fear dictate your steps. You are entering your arena on your terms, and when you do that, you move with a confidence that no obstacle can shake. The comeback is always stronger than the setback, and that's what's waiting for you, your comeback. But comebacks don't happen by accident. They happen when you take control of your mindset, when you refocus your energy, when you give yourself the space to heal, to recharge, and to rise. Every setback, every failure, every moment of doubt, it has been preparing you for this moment, for this return, for this victory. You've been in training without even knowing it, and now the time has come to step into your power. So I want you to hear me clearly. You are not weak. You have never been weak. What you've been is human. You've been tested, you've been stretched, you've been challenged, and now all of that preparation is about to pay off. When you relax, refocus, and step back into your life with control, you don't just continue, you dominate. You don't just survive, you thrive. You don't just recover, you rise higher than you've ever been. This is your moment to take back your power, to own your fight, and to prove to yourself that nothing in life, not failure, not exhaustion, not doubt, can hold you down when you choose to come back on your terms. You are ready, you are strong, you are unstoppable.